are you working at least as hard for yourself as you are for other people? This is an important question with implications whether it's game development, running a small business, or just trying to get ourselves to do things in our lives that we mean to be doing. There's a mistaken impression sometimes that if someone's never tried to work for themselves, that they will finally not have a boss. They're so sick and tired of managers and bosses, they would love to not have a boss. The reality, as any entrepreneur will tell you, is that you in fact do still have a boss. Your boss is kind of a jerk sometimes. Your boss is you. This is actually going to come to it from the other side of the fact that if you're working for yourself, you're not only your own boss, you're also your own employee. In many cases, if you're starting out, your only employee. And so it becomes equally important to ask, are you a good employee to yourself as are you a good boss to yourself? And this can sound like such a split, weird way of thinking, but I assure you it's kind of useful. And even if you never intend to be an entrepreneur, even if you don't desire or care to have your own company, this is still relevant because if there's something you want to get yourself to do, paint, learn ice skating, play a sport, whatever it might be you want to get yourself to do, it's a really valuable life skill to be able to assign yourself and say, do such and such by Thursday at noon because it's going to move me forward on my goals. And like I say, it might have nothing to do with business. Might not be a company thing at all. Might just be, I really want to start learning pixel art. Can I get myself to do that? In terms of thinking about how can you be a better employee to yourself and how can you be a better manager to yourself, and these sometimes have to do with working our way up to it. That I think sometimes we start too grand and it becomes too much too fast. We get overwhelmed, we fail at it, we get frustrated, we give up on it. So instead, what I encourage to try to get better at assigning yourself things is to begin by assigning yourself simpler things, smaller things. Stuff you can get in the habit of really holding yourself to. You know, let's say even you've been, I don't know, finding you're having trouble sleeping, you think maybe you're eating too close to when you go to bed, you could assign yourself, okay, I should set an alarm so I don't have to think about it, and then I should start making dinner at 6:30. And as simple as that is, it's a very easy intro point into, I've assigned myself, I've shown myself I follow through, and again, think about it, if this is an employee-boss relationship, you've got to build up that trust over time from both sides, that you're going to ask realistic things of yourself, and that you're going to follow through on doing those things because you want to be a good employee as much as you want to be a good boss. And then over time, you can increase the amount of time that you're sort of setting goals for. You can increase the scale of what you're setting time for. When people talk about goals in general, in terms of life goals, business goals, in a way, that's really just a form of assigning ourselves a task, right? It's saying, get this done by such and such time, figure it out. I entrust the details to you. In the past, when you've had bosses or teachers or parents or other people who've assigned you things, and you found that you followed through on doing them, really think about what was it about that helped you follow through on really doing it. And like I say, we all have different cues. That's why I can't offer some sort of silver bullet to what works for me may not be what works for you. But was it a tone of voice? Was it a way the question was phrased? Was it a level of understanding? Was it maybe a level of clarity? You know, we really crave clarity. One of the things that makes video games so soothing and comfortable in our lives, and why it makes partly an escape from reality's complexities, is because the objective is almost always so clear, right? Make it to the top of that hill. Destroy all the zombies. It's not complicated at all. In a way that reality has so many options we can do. And part of that value, that power that comes from distinguishing mentally, and it's not like you have split personality. This is not anything that serious or severe, obviously. But it's like if you can separate out the part of you that decides what is the task, you get this added bit of clarity in terms of, okay, well, I'd already decided that was the right use of this next time. That was the next step I needed to do. That was what I should follow through on. And so then it's getting your other half to respect that. It's a different task, right? I mean, a giant company, project managers, producers are people that figure out what the tasks are and worry about, is this the right task, separate from the people who are doing it. And so shifting back and forth between those, and you can do it, but you don't want to be doing it constantly or rapidly. And the act of doing it shouldn't be the same time reconsidering the big picture, which you'd already decided, this is the next step for me to be attempting. And then lastly is one little other tip for doing those. I will suggest, because they should be separated in time, when you're sort of in planning mode and when you're sort of in execution mode, it's useful to externalize it, to put it on a whiteboard, to write it down somewhere, to make it so that you can look back at what did I say I was going to do, and now I'm going to do it. Some people find this helps to put, and again, a lot of this carries over directly from kind of the goals setting universe. Some people find it's helpful to put it right next to their monitor, a little whiteboard they can't ignore, to put a post-it note on the corner of somewhere they're going to see, to put something next to their bedside table where they know that's where they're going to find what they are. And again, you want to start small. The objective is to build up momentum by getting incremental success at it. You don't want to go straight from not exercising to expecting you're going to assign yourself, I'm going to wake up every morning at 6 a.m. and go exercise. Because it's not going to happen. You're going to get discouraged. And you're going to lose that trust between working for yourself, you, and working for yourself, boss, employee, boss kind of bond. And so instead, you want to start off modest, give yourself some simple goals you know you can follow through on, just to build up that momentum. And I think you'll be glad you did. In terms of this opens up so much potential. Getting yourself to do the things you mean to be doing, whether it's in business, game development, or otherwise, is just a valuable skill, right? Maybe it's social. Maybe it's asking somebody out. Maybe it's getting yourself to go out to some sort of place where you feel like you want to go, you're interested in going, but you haven't gone. That can come from the same power to task yourself with something. Assign yourself a task in a way that you know you'll follow through on. You know, someone mentioned the other day, it seems like it's a form of kind of self-discipline. It is a little bit. But we sometimes think of that as being this sort of like very rigid, kind of military kind of thing, and it doesn't have to be. Not at all. It's just about taking over control over our lives. And again, it's not about either forcing ourselves to do anything we want to do. To the contrary, it's making sure we can get ourselves to do the things that we mean to be doing. That the stuff you're interested in, let's see if we can get that to line up better with what you're actually doing. And that comes from the power to assign yourself tasks and follow through on it. I'd be curious to down below if there's areas of your life that you use this in, if there's patterns of how you have found it's helpful for you to phrase for yourself the task you're assigning yourself. You know, what variations this have worked for you. I'd be curious to hear about those. Try to combine what we know. Thanks for tuning in. I'll have another video for you all tomorrow. Bye for now.